let me tell you something that doesn't get talked about enough. You've probably met this person before, the one who always has the answer, the one who somehow knows how to calm a situation, solve a problem, fix what's broken, the one people call at 2 a.m. when everything falls apart. Or maybe that person is you. At first, it feels like a strength, almost like a quiet superpower. You walk into chaos and somehow things settle. You listen and people feel understood. You step in and problems begin to untangle. But here's the part no one tells you. The people who know how to fix everything often don't know how to stop. And that changes everything. Because what looks like capability on the outside can sometimes be something much deeper on the inside. Why does one person freeze in difficult situations while another instantly takes control? Why do some people avoid responsibility while others feel responsible for everything? It's not random, and once you understand why, you start to see it everywhere. There's a moment, usually early in life, that shapes this pattern. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be obvious. Sometimes it's subtle, a household where emotions weren't expressed clearly, a parent who was overwhelmed, distant, or unpredictable, an environment where stability wasn't guaranteed, but expected from you anyway. And without realizing it, something clicks in the mind. If I can fix things, everything will be okay. So you start small. You become the peacemaker, the one who smooths over tension, the one who says the right thing at the right time. And people notice. They rely on you. They trust you. They come back to you. And slowly, your identity begins to form around it. Not just, I help people, but I am the one who fixes things. And here's where it gets interesting, because the brain loves patterns that work. Every time you solve a problem, every time you restore balance, every time someone says, I don't know what I'd do without you, your brain registers it as proof that this role matters, proof that this is where you belong, so it reinforces it again and again and again, until one day, it's no longer something you do, it's who you are. But here's the question most people never ask. What happens when the fixer needs fixing? Because that's the paradox. The same person who can navigate everyone else's chaos often feels completely lost in their own. Not because they're incapable, but because they were never taught how to turn that same attention inward. They learned how to read others, how to anticipate problems, how to respond quickly and effectively. But they didn't learn how to sit with their own emotions without trying to solve them. And that creates something subtle but powerful, a kind of internal disconnect where you can explain someone else's feelings perfectly but struggle to fully understand your own. You can guide others through difficult decisions, but hesitate when it comes to your own life. You can fix everything around you, except the quiet tension within you, and most of the time, you don't even notice it, because you're busy helping, busy solving, busy being needed, and being needed feels good. It gives you purpose, it gives you direction, it gives you a sense of control, but there's a hidden cost, because over time, being the fixer can slowly turn into something else, something heavier. You start taking responsibility for things that were never yours, other people's emotions, other people's decisions, other people's outcomes, and without realizing it, you begin to carry weight that doesn't belong to you. At first, it's manageable, then it's tiring, and eventually, it becomes exhausting. But instead of stepping back, you lean in even more. Because stepping back feels wrong. It feels like you're letting people down, like you're abandoning your role, like you're losing a part of who you are. So you keep going, you keep fixing, you keep showing up, you keep holding everything together, even when you're falling apart a little inside. And here's the part that most people won't admit. Sometimes, you don't even realize how tired you are, because you've been this way for so long. It feels normal, but then something happens. A moment, a situation, a breaking point, where no matter how much you try, you can't fix it. Maybe it's a relationship that doesn't improve, a person who doesn't change, a problem that keeps repeating itself, and suddenly, the strategy that always worked doesn't. And that's when things start to shift. Because for the first time, you're forced to face something unfamiliar, not how to fix the situation, but how to sit with the fact that you can't. And that feeling is deeply uncomfortable. It challenges everything you've built your identity around. Because if you're not the one who fixes things, then who are you? And that question doesn't have an easy answer, but it does open a door that most fixers avoid for a long time, the door inward, because underneath the need to fix everything, there's usually something else, something quieter, something more vulnerable, a need to feel safe, a need to feel in control, a need to feel enough, and fixing becomes the way to achieve that. If I can solve this, I'll feel okay. If I can help them, I'll matter. If everything around me is stable, I can relax. But life doesn't work like that. There will always be something uncertain, something messy, something unresolved. And if your sense of peace depends on fixing everything, then peace will always feel just out of reach. Which brings us to something most people never connect. The ability to fix everything can sometimes be a response to not feeling safe in the first place. Not necessarily in an obvious way, but in a subtle psychological sense, where control becomes comfort, where solving becomes security, where being needed becomes identity. And once you see that, you start to understand why it's so hard to let go. Because it's not just about helping others, it's about protecting yourself from uncertainty, from rejection, from feeling powerless. But here's where things take an unexpected turn. Because the very thing that once protected you can eventually start to limit you. And most people don't realize it until much later, until they notice a pattern. They're always the strong one, but rarely the supported one. They're always the listener, but rarely the one being heard. They're always the solution, but rarely allowed to just be human. And that imbalance quietly builds over time until one question starts to surface. What would happen if you stopped fixing everything? Not forever, just for a moment. What would change? What would feel uncomfortable? What would you be forced to face? Because that question is where everything begins to shift. And the answer might not be what you expect, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. And in part 2, we're going to go deeper into this, because there's a hidden pattern behind people who fix everything. That explains not just how they think, but why they struggle with boundaries, relationships, and even their own sense of identity. And more importantly, how to break that pattern without losing the part of you that cares. Because you don't need to stop being someone who helps. You just need to understand why you feel the need to fix everything in the first place. And that realization changes everything. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because once you start seeing this pattern, you begin to notice something you might have ignored for years. Not everyone actually wants to be fixed. Let that sit for a second. You can give the perfect advice. You can say the exact right thing. You can even see the solution so clearly it almost frustrates you. And still, nothing changes. At first, it's confusing. Then it becomes frustrating. And eventually, it becomes personal. You start wondering, why don't they listen? Why do they keep repeating the same mistakes? Why am I the only one trying to make this better? But here's the truth most fixers struggle to accept. Fixing only works when the other person is ready, and readiness is something you cannot create for them. This is where many people who fix everything begin to feel stuck in their relationships, because they're not just loving people, they're managing them, emotionally, mentally, sometimes even silently. You start anticipating their reactions, adjusting your words, carrying conversations in your head before they even happen. And over time, this creates a dynamic where you're doing most of the emotional work, not because you were asked to, but because it feels natural to you. But natural doesn't always mean healthy. And here's the deeper layer most people don't talk about. Sometimes, fixing becomes a way to avoid something within yourself. Think about it. When you're focused on someone else's problems, you don't have to sit with your own. When you're solving external chaos, you don't have to face internal uncertainty. When you're needed, you don't have to question your worth. So without realizing it, helping others becomes a distraction, a very productive socially praised distraction. And that's why it's so hard to stop. Because from the outside, it looks like kindness. But from the inside, it can sometimes be driven by fear. Fear of being irrelevant, fear of being alone, fear of not knowing who you are without that role. And this is where boundaries come into the picture. Or more accurately, the lack of them. Because if your identity is built around being the one who fixes everything, then saying no doesn't just feel uncomfortable. It feels like a betrayal. You start thinking, if I don't help, who will? If I step back, everything might fall apart. If I stop showing up like this, will people still value me? So you keep saying yes, even when you're tired, even when you're overwhelmed, even when a part of you quietly wishes someone would take care of you for once. And here's the part that hurts a little. Most people won't notice, not because they don't care, but because you've trained them not to. You've shown them that you're always okay, always capable, always available. So they stop asking, and you start feeling unseen. Not because you're invisible, but because you've hidden the part of you that needs support. And over time, that creates a quiet kind of loneliness. The kind where you're surrounded by people, but still feel like no one truly understands you. Because they only know the version of you that has it all together, not the version that's still figuring things out. And that's where the real shift begins. Not in fixing less, but in understanding why you feel the need to fix in the first place. Because once you understand that, you gain something you didn't have before: choice. You can still help people, you can still care deeply, you can still be someone others rely on, but it's no longer automatic, it's intentional, and that changes everything, because now, instead of jumping in to fix every situation, you pause, you ask yourself, is this mine to carry? Am I helping or overstepping? Am I giving or trying to control the outcome? And sometimes, the answer will surprise you, because not every problem needs a solution from you. Some problems need space, some people need to figure things out on their own, and some situations are simply not yours to fix. And accepting that isn't weakness, it's awareness, it's growth. It's the moment you stop trying to control everything and start trusting that not everything needs to be controlled. But here's the most important part. Letting go of the need to fix everything doesn't mean you stop being a good person. It doesn't mean you become distant or uncaring. It means you become balanced, because real strength isn't just about holding everything together. It's also about knowing when to step back, when to rest, when to receive, when to simply exist, without trying to improve or repair something. And that might feel unfamiliar at first, maybe even uncomfortable, but it's necessary, because the truth is, you were never meant to carry everything. You were never meant to be the solution to every problem. You were never meant to earn your place in people's lives by fixing things. You were meant to be human, to feel, to struggle, and to grow just like everyone else. And once you allow yourself to do that, something shifts. You start forming healthier relationships. You start setting boundaries without guilt. You start feeling lighter without losing your depth. And most importantly, you start seeing yourself differently, not just as the one who fixes everything, but as someone who is allowed to be taken care of too. And that realization, it's quiet, it's subtle, but it stays with you. Because once you understand the psychology behind this pattern, you don't lose your ability to help others. You just stop losing yourself in the process. And maybe that's what this was really about all along, not becoming someone new, but finally understanding the version of you that's been there the whole time, the one who doesn't need to fix everything to be enough.